Hey everybody, Adam Davidson, RadCast. How are you? It's the 5th of February, 2020. It's a fine Wednesday. Let's get to it. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 23 and 24. Paul is writing. These are kind of his closing statements. This is a benediction, is what we call it, a word of blessing and sending. This is what he says. May God himself, the God of peace, sanctify you through and through. May your whole spirit, soul, and body be kept blameless at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. The one who calls you is faithful, and he will do it. And that's the word of the Lord. And may that be true of you and I today. Now, did you notice that Paul mentions spirit, soul, and body? Quite a trifecta there, right? I mean, we think a lot about our spiritual selves. We think about the eternal nature and status of our souls, but we don't really think about our bodies a lot when it comes to being in relationship with Jesus. Here's the connection when it comes to mental health. And yes, we need to talk about mental health because yes, there is still a stigma out there. Mental health, mental illness specifically, is often caused by a chemical imbalance in the brain, a trauma, the way we process things, etc., etc., etc. It actually has to do with our bodies. The reason I bring that up this morning and today is because sometimes in the church, mental illness is blamed on spiritual forces alone. Now, there's no doubt that there are evil spiritual forces working against us. There's the kingdom of light and the kingdom of darkness. The prince of this world has a great plan for nothing but our destruction. No doubt about it. But sometimes a chemical imbalance doesn't need evil's help to wreak havoc on a person because their bodies are not working correctly. Even worse and even more painful for someone dealing with mental illness in the church is when we in the church assume or even tell them that their depression or their anxiety is based on their personal sin. Well, you're depressed because you're not trusting Jesus, and you've got to be joyful and choose joy. I mean, we sort of throw a Bible verse at them and think that will help the chemical issue in their brain. Or when they're experiencing anxiety, we say, come on, Philippians, come on, peace of God, I can do all things through Christ. Come on, where's your faith? Maybe you don't have enough faith. I'll be praying for you to have faith. Great prayer, bad timing, right? So if we're talking about a physical thing, a chemical imbalance, a trauma, something that happened, something that makes your brain compute things differently, that's what we would call a physical issue. And so when Paul says your spirit, soul, and body, he's reminding us that we are a whole person created in God's image, and that sometimes in this broken world, those parts of us get messed up. And so we need God's healing, and sometimes God heals through things like medicine. And so, fellow follower of Jesus, may we end the stigma and treat mental health as a physical issue, which it 99% of the time is. No matter what you do today, may God himself keep you blameless until he comes back. That's RadCast.